Hey everyone, welcome to Maych TV. What's happening? So Liverpool's Champions League draw is done. They are playing Galatasaray in the round of 16 in the Champions League, which straight off the bat, given the choice between Galatasaray and Atletico Madrid, I wanted Galatasaray. Now, I know that they beat us in the league phase and we beat Atletico Madrid. So at a very base level, I'm not trying to be glib about the fact that we've got Galatasaray. Just as a pure opinion thing, I think Galatasaray are more beatable than Atletico Madrid, even though you follow my logic on all that. Cool, so that's okay. And that was fine as a sort of thought process in isolation before we knew what the full draw was going to be. Now we know that draw puts Liverpool on the silver path, which is to say, alongside Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea, Real Madrid, Man City, Atalanta and Bayern Munich. And when you consider the two weakest teams in that side of the draw are Galatasaray and Atalanta are a team, I went all the way to Atalanta in the Europa League and watched them basically pull our pants down over two legs in that. Okay, there's a slight difference, not all the same things in that, but yeah, anyway, the point is, it is nails. That is a nails side of the draw. And as much as there are some big names on the side, Barcelona, the aforementioned Atletico Madrid, obviously Arsenal as well, you still would say, without a shadow of a doubt, that is the harder side of it. So what I'm going to do is make a massive rod for me back and predict how I think this is going to go. From the round of 16 into the quarters, semis, and the final to see who I think is going to come out on top. Basically, I'm going to spin you a story, a wild web of how Liverpool go from here to winners here for number 7. Because why not? I'm a Liverpool fan. You're probably a Liverpool fan. Join me on the journey if you so wish. Feel free to critique any of this as I go in the comment section. But yeah, so I think Liverpool will get past Galatasaray. I just do. Going back to my original thing, I just think it was the favourable draw. We lost there 1-0. It was the softest of soft penalties. Dom Szoboszlai, I just don't think it should have been given as a penalty. And I thought, whereas Liverpool weren't really very good in that game, I thought they started it really brightly. Hugo Ekitike playing on the shoulder, got in a couple of times, and it was a bright start to the game. I could see us being able to do that again now that we've developed a little bit more. There's a little bit more sort of cohesion in the team and how it plays. Now we will have to get a little bit of good fortune in terms of injuries, i.e. not picking up any more injuries, but also getting a few players back. If you can get Jeremy Frimpong back in time for that, it really opens it up, because what you've got is pace then, and not just necessarily pace from the start, but maybe pace off the bench that could really change, the game state for Liverpool. So I don't want to, again, appear like I'm being blasé about Galatasaray. I'm really, really not. But the fact of the matter is, if you were to hand-pick a team for Liverpool to play out of this entire draw, Galatasaray probably would have been one of them. So I think Liverpool get past this. Looking at this sort of half of our bracket then means you've got Paris Saint-Germain or Chelsea that are potentially going to meet Liverpool in the quarterfinals. The smart money would be on PSG progressing. I think that makes sense. Obviously, they've had a little bit more, well, maybe just as much of a tough time. Maybe not quite, but they've had a tough time in patches in Europe this season. It hasn't been plain sailing. Obviously, we know they came good in the back half of last season. But the thing that's worth remembering about this entire side of the draw is the exertions of the summer in the Club World Cup. So can PSG find the depths in the later stages of the season that they did last year? Now, normally their issue is they absolutely steamroller the league, and then they haven't got enough competition to keep them sharp by the time they get to the latter stages, and that's why they've struggled to win it in the past, whereas it feels like they peaked the perfect sort of moment last year to come good when it was really needed. And it's what I think is there's a great story here in it being a PSG versus Liverpool quarter-final, because obviously this is the team that knocked Liverpool out, and it was the finest of margins, to go down to penalties and be knocked out. And as you remember, to go to the Parc des Princes, it was Alisson's game. It was almost like if it was a final, it would have been called the Alisson final, because that's how superhumanly, stunningly good he was in that football match. And obviously Harvey Elliott is the telling factor in that match in the end. PSG were much the better team away from home, but Liverpool were much the better team at Anfield. And there's a moment in that game where Trent Alexander-Arnold goes off injured and Jarell Quansah comes on at right back, and it kind of, just at the point where Liverpool are threatening to really grab the game and take it away from PSG, it undercuts what we're doing. But the point is that it's because it was so early in the competition, it's a bit of a stick to beat Liverpool with. Obviously, we lost the League Cup final to Newcastle around then as well, and we were so focused on the league that it didn't really matter. But it would be interesting to see these two teams go head to head and challenge each other. And as much as right now, I think probably looking at PSG, we would be right to be fearful of them. I think you've got to be fearful of every team that's got into the round of 16 in some ways. I wouldn't be made up to go to the Arctic Circle, for example, whereas maybe a month ago you'd be going, oh, Bodo Glimt, we'd piss that. A lot of people are going to be very scared about that. So, yes, Paris Saint-Germain should be fearful, but also exciting. Exciting because, yeah, Liverpool, who had totally and utterly pitched themselves towards going flat and getting the League One, were really struggling in terms of fitness and all that kind of stuff. I just wonder whether we could actually, if we did it again, it's very much been lived in Arne Slot's. Nottingham Forest and PSG live entirely rent-free in Arne Slot's brain, and would he be able to mastermind Liverpool getting beyond PSG? I think it's possible. I think it's possible. So that would take Liverpool into the semi-finals. The question is, who would they come up against? It's really interesting for me, the Real Madrid-Man City thing. Because I think City have got the firepower and Real Madrid have got the firepower, but I don't think either team are brilliant defensively either. We've seen it ourselves with Real. When they're on the ball, they were really good in the game at Anfield, but they weren't very good at winning the ball back. So it wasn't like a real toe-to-toe sort of clash. Their style actually quite suited how we played. And I know, obviously, the City game went completely tits up at Anfield recently. But yeah, would you back against Real Madrid? I personally, I've said this before, I would rather have Real Madrid on this side of the draw so as not to face them in a final, because I think they're a different beast when they get there. Interested to know your thoughts on who you think would come out on top of Real Madrid and Man City. I will go, for the sake of it, because we're going on a magical mystery tour of Liverpool putting past demons to bed, let's say Real Madrid, Christ. Real Madrid are going to play Bayern Munich in the quarters, and then Real Madrid are going to win, and so we're going to play Real Madrid in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Good God. And then we're going to win, because it's not a final, and you've got an opportunity to beat them over two legs. Yeah, cool. On the other side of the draw, Newcastle could very much do something against Barcelona. They could, but you'd bank Barcelona ultimately to come out on top, but there might be a big shock in there. Atletico will just beat Tottenham because Tottenham are crap. Let's give Bodo Glimt a chance of going through in there. And then I think Arsenal will go past Bayer Leverkusen. I would love to see Arsenal have a real struggle against Bodo Glimt. That would be absolutely hilarious if they were the next big scalp that they managed to take. I think Barcelona would beat Atletico Madrid. I think what we'll end up with is probably an Arsenal-Barcelona semi-final. That's not too much of a stretch. I think they're the two best teams on that side. So logic would follow that they would end up there. My biggest fear, my most massive, colossal fear would be a Liverpool-Arsenal Champions League final. But you've got to think of it this way. Yes, that would be an absolute living hell to imagine what would happen if it went wrong. But imagine what would happen if it went right. Imagine a universe where Arsenal win the league, and then with all that congratulatory stuff behind them, they get to a European final against the Liverpool side that stuttered in the league, and then Liverpool's European pedigree just shines through. Wouldn't that be fantastic? I'm here for that story. Whether it happens, obviously we'll have to wait and see. But even the Barcelona thing, Liverpool-Barcelona final, would be fascinating because there's two teams on 6 European Cups fighting for the 7th. That would be a really great to kind of duke it out, and yeah, to be able to slide above the other in the overall Champions League rankings would be very good. But yeah, so I went to Madrid and in 2019, and Liverpool having Spurs in that one was just a sickener deep in your soul, because you can't even begin to fathom that future of like, oh my God, what if we lose to these? You've not just lost, losing a Champions League final or a European Cup final, using any final is horrendous, but to lose it to a team that you've then got to see the fans, it's like almost like losing to Real Madrid is horrendous, and I really would like us to finally beat them again in a European Cup final. But you don't have to really see them. And if you do, they'll give you a stick in a different language. The idea of losing to an English team would be mind-blowing. But yes, sometimes you've got to think about, like, you know, the potential for just it to be the sweetest thing on the other side. Yeah, listen, do you think Liverpool can make it to the Champions League final? It's a big ask. Look, if I'm taking my red tinted glasses off, I think it's, look, Liverpool could conceivably, I think they'll definitely get past Galatasaray. I await to see myself online in a few weeks' time when that goes wrong. But no, I think Liverpool should be able to get past Galatasaray. I think they should be able to get past them well as well. Paris Saint-Germain should then beat Liverpool, and that should be the end of it at the quarterfinals. But it's Liverpool, and we've got the players who are capable of causing problems. We seem to have solidified ourselves in general. And in Europe, okay, I know obviously the Galatasaray thing is a thing, but I think we've been better, and I think our style of play suits that. And there's also a thing that we've picked up a trick or two from having been bullied and set piece to death in the Premier League so far, which is a thing that teams like PSG and Real Madrid and Bayern Munich perhaps don't have as much in their locker. There is a reason. Look, there's 9 teams from the Premier League in Europe. That's nearly half of the teams in the top flight of English football are in the latter stages of European football. It's a very, very good league, and we hopefully will have sharpened ourselves against that and be able to unleash that on the continent. Yeah. What do you think of my story? Do you like it? Do you believe in it? Are you buying in? Would you buy the book? Or would you just wait for it to, for it to head into a film and then come on streaming? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe. I've also got a brand new show that just went out this week, picking an all-time alternative Premier League 11. My good mate James Alcott is on that one with me. The rules are pretty simple. None of the generally established, fully accepted best 11 players of all time. So, like, no John Terry's, no Ryan Giggs, no Scholes, no Gerrard, no Lampard, no Shearer, no Henry, no Salah, for example. It's basically almost like a hipster's in-depth pick of what you think that 11 would look like from an alternative perspective. It's very, very good. Very, very funny and very enjoyable indeed. So do click that. I'll link it at the end. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoy that. Have an amazing day. Nice one.